E salve a tutti e bentornati e benvenuti su GOitalia. Allora, improvvisamente vedo che è uscita all'interno della State of Unreal 2025, hanno fatto vedere la tech demo in Unreal Engine 5.6. Fra l'altro, se andate sul sito di Epic, comunque mi sembra che si può addirittura scaricare, non lo so, comunque si può scaricare la demo, non lo so se questa demo si può scaricare, non lo so. Comunque attenzione, io comunque la voglio un attimo reactare perché è una roba impressionante. Fra l'altro ho trovato una versione con i sottotitoli in italiano, per cui ma me la faccio andare bene, quindi come sempre andiamo, let's go e commentiamo, vai.
This is a technological showcase set in the world of The Witcher 4. What you just saw and are going to see now is running on a standard PlayStation 5 at 60 FPS with ray tracing. So in the game, you'll be playing as Ciri, a professional monster slayer.
Attenzione, ha appena detto una roba che mi sembra quantomeno allucinante, cioè il fatto che quello che stiamo vedendo girerà a 60 frame su una PlayStation 5 normale. Cioè una roba, se è vera, è devastante sta cosa. Comunque andiamo avanti, io non ci credo, però se è così è assolutamente devastante.
A Witcher. She explores the world and hunts down monsters for coin. The region we are in is called Kovir, and you'll get to explore it in a game. Right now, Ciri is investigating a monster, and after gathering new clues, she is heading back to a nearby village. All right, everyone, meet Kelpie.
Let weeds be weeds, Kelpie.
So just like Geralt and Roach, Ciri has her own loyal companion.
We return to town.
These two characters need to feel like one. Since you're gonna explore the world on horseback, riding needs to feel seamless, natural, and just fun.
Yeah, and to support that, we're introducing multi-character motion matching in Unreal. So Ciri and Kelpie, they're perfectly synchronized when mounting from any angle and speed. And we also support root motion movement on Kelpie, so controlling her feels realistic and grounded. And there are also some really nice improvements to our Unreal Chaos Flesh Solver and these machine-learned deformations. So you've got realistic muscles move.
Mamma mia! Mamma mia! Dio santo benedetto, guardate la struttura muscolare che c'è sotto all'interno della mamma mia.
Behind for a second and talk about the world itself. So much of the Witcher world is natural, organic, especially Kovir with its dense forest and wild nature.
Yeah, and wild nature is hard. And with nanite geometry, we free.
Poi calcolate che CD Projekt cacchiate non ne fa, per cui tutto quello che stiamo dicendo, sinceramente, io ci voglio credere al 100%. Mi ha stupito, però ci voglio credere, assolutamente.
Artists from so many of their old constraints. But we don't want to rest until everything we do in Unreal has that same spirit of freedom. There's always more work to do. And foliage is a huge piece of that puzzle. So we are excited to introduce nanite foliage. And in order to achieve gorgeous foliage density everywhere, while still being memory efficient, fast to render, we believe.
Abbiamo visto il rendering che c'è sotto senza le texture per un attimo, è impressionante il numero di poligoni.
That a new idea was needed. So instead of the same card approach.
Per questo faccio fatica molto a credere che sia su PlayStation 5 e non su PC, però.
We've been using for the past 20 years. Artists should be free to take a nanite approach.
Io comunque lo giocherò su PC al day one, ovviamente. Però.
And the old LOD tricks of the past, they needed a complete rethink.
Impressionante.
In their place, it's a new adaptive voxel representation in nanite. It's volumetric, it's fully 3D, it is super fast to render. And these dense clusters of triangles turn into these cubes, which at a distance, they're no larger than a pixel, and they react to the changing light of our dynamic sun and our shadows, and they allow artists to render whatever amount of foliage is needed to achieve their vision without compromise.
And no compromise means how ambitious we are when it comes to bringing our vision to life with incredible visuals. But more than that, together with Epic, we created faster way to load the world. We can now bring in more content more quickly for the smoothest possible experience as we fly down to catch up with Siri. Welcome to Valdrest. So Valdrest is a port town, a hub for fishing, trade and mining. It's one of those places where you can meet shady characters or overhear gossip from other lands. It's also where Ciri took on her current contract. High-tech, let's leave Kelpie here and explore the marketplace and food.
And the missus?
I'm so excited we can finally show you some of this stuff. Let's see what Valdrest has to offer.
A parte che sta roba si deve vedere in 4K e in formato RAW. Però è comunque impressionante, anche se questo filmato è in soli Full HD. E poi lo carico sempre in 2K, ma non è quello il discorso, è che comunque oggettivamente il numero di oggetti...
Guys, notice how responsive the world is.
Vedete che lo sta giocando su PS5, eh?
Sometimes even setting off chain reactions. Everything is working together.
Sarebbe da capire dove lo sta giocando fisicamente. Quel pad dove è attaccato?
Oh, look at this.
Non è attaccato a un PC? Ci dobbiamo credere?
That's what happens when you cheat at Gwent.
Last of it, is it?
Cioè, mondo troppo pieno e troppi personaggi, perché io vorrei fermarmi e vedere che fa ognuno.
Like you probably suspect, he has his own agenda in all of this.
You're off your tits again, Wilfred. Get your ass up.
Mi sembra troppo bello per essere vero, vi dico la verità.
Who in? Ah, with Churres. One using my way.
Cioè, non mi sembra in game. Questo, vabbè, questo non lo è, ma un attimo fa lo era, per cui è impressionante, perché quasi non stacca nulla.
As for the salt, I found not one speck. I presume this comes as no surprise to you. Now. Kavir's smuggling trade is of no concern to me.
Shush.
The manticore that flattened your cart and devoured your men? Quite the opposite.
Manticore? No, them winged hellspawn dwell in the arse end of Creighton, not here.
While Siri decides what to do about that merchant, let's take a look at the character technology that powers this marketplace. Why don't we listen in on these fishmongers? They're selling their wares, chatting up customers.
È esattamente quello... No, è impressionante perché è esattamente quello che io volevo, cioè capire mentre noi stiamo lì parlando cosa succede dietro e cosa sarebbe successo se ci fossimo fermati, e quindi i vari personaggi. Quindi ha dato la risposta a quello che io stavo che avevo in mente quando ho visto il mercato. Quindi cioè, è impressionante poi capire quante storie si possono eventualmente seguire, cioè la discussione, poi quello che a un certo punto se ne va e dove va e cosa sta facendo, non lo so, è abbastanza complessa sta roba da gestire, però insomma non voglio farlo durare troppo sto video, però mamma mia, c'è una roba, un hype, l'hype mi è spruzzato proprio, mamma mia, non vi dico dove, cioè in maniera esagerata. Andiamo avanti.
Get this cleaned and gutted for you. You mind, dearest? Into seeing some and more. Got mackerel, cod, all Brexit's finest.
And there is tons of tech to play here, even in a simple market stall. Metahuman tools, improved Unreal smart objects, chaos cloth, and more.
Yeah, And all of this exists to make sure that the gap in quality between Siri and NPCs is as small as possible.
Yeah,
Sì, infatti è veramente ridotto tantissimo il divario.
they should react to changes in the world around them.
But the prisoner in Pillory isn't exciting enough for Valdrest. Let's grab everyone's attention with a circus. But the great performance deserves a huge crowd though. Let's crank it up.
So you are seeing tons of optimizations here to many of Unreal systems, including an entirely new Unreal animation framework, allowing us to fit easily in our 60 FPS budget, not just in rendering, but also with room to spare on the game thread. Over 300 animated skeletal mesh agents all going about their business. And the whole point is to leave breathing room for developers like you to introduce the gameplay and the systems that your players expect, empowering you to make your worlds come to life without Unreal standing in your way.
You are right. That's the open world RPG that we're making. But before we wrap up, how about one final check-in with Siri? We are making this game to be the most immersive and ambitious open world Witcher game ever. And we are making this a reality thanks to our work on Unreal with the team at Epic. I think what we are doing together is going to bring in a new generation of open world RPGs, and I'm so proud of what we accomplished so far.
We are too.
So we're almost done, but before we go, here's a small gift for all Witcher fans. A first look at l'Annexeta.
Onward, Kelby. We've worked to do.
Questo è quello che io voglio giocare, non a GTA 6 o altre stronzate. Questo è quello che voglio giocare, perché questo è quello che io voglio da un videogioco.
It looks amazing. And we've also barely scratched the surface of what's coming in Unreal 5.6. So here's Julien to tell you even more. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, great to be here in Orlando. I spent a lot of time on this demo, so
Ti lascio questa parte e poi ci salutiamo.
into the 5.6 release.
Comunque veramente impressionante, non ho niente da aggiungere. Pazzesco, pazzesco. Tutto assurdo.
We want the engine to scale to large and rich worlds. We want to preserve graphics.
Il nuovo aggiornamento di Unreal è assurdo, è assurdo, è assurdo.
You and your players expect. So let's check it out, starting with rendering. If you all remember, when we released Nanite with UE5, it supported static geometry. Last year, we brought skinning to Nanite. And now, we're working on Nanite foliage. The only way to have a forest that looks as good as this one is to use 3D geometry for all parts of the trees, just like we do for everything else. However, this is a crazy amount of fine geometry, so we had to rethink how trees are created and displayed. To create them, we developed Nanite assemblies. These 28 little parts that you see are all that we use to build all the spruces from the forest. They are instanced thousands of times and used like building blocks to assemble trees in different ways. And as you probably noticed with the wind effect, they even support skeletal animation, which runs on the GPU. Thanks to assembly, we greatly reduce the storage, the runtime memory, and the rendering cost. Then, to display an entire forest, the challenge was to preserve fidelity and performance from any distance. Let's check up close the level of detail we're talking about here. Lots of details. But this triangle representation is not the most efficient when far away, due to the amount of overlapping. And that's why we made an adaptive voxel representation. But in reality, you'll never see those voxels this close, since when we move the camera back, they're barely a pixel. Nanite foliage is almost done. We are moving it to the main line as we speak, and it will be available for everyone in 5.7. Another thing I would like to share is that ray tracing and Lumen now run more than twice as fast, with no visual trade-off compared to when UE5 was released. And because of that, we can now hit 60 FPS on consoles. And finally, we rewrote the rendering pipeline to run asynchronously so you can increase the richness of your scenes even more. Now let's talk about chaos physics. For chaos cloth, we improve our cloth-to-cloth constraint solution. This removes a lot of collision evaluation when garments are piling up and interacting with each other. Even for complex setup like Series Cape, we hit a sub-millisecond budget on PS5. With Chaos Flesh, we introduce procedural muscle activations to make deformation and motion more natural. Your artist will still have control over tetrahedral simulation and train ML models that run fast in real time. We now support the baking of fluid surface data into lightweight assets to be played back at low cost. This is going to give you high-fidelity water without the performance cost of real-time fluid simulation. For animation, we work on both performance and fidelity. Here, you can see how Siri and Kelpie match up in their interaction. Well, that works no matter the angle of approach. That's our Molds character motion matching solution. We also added motion matching in Sequencer to build stitch tracks. With them, you can seamlessly transition from gameplay to cinematic. Also, we now have a secondary layer of animation driven by physics in Control Rig. We used it in Kelpie's rig to drive the mane, the tail, and the saddlebacks. And now, I'm happy to announce that all these features are already integrated into our new Unreal Animation framework, which we are releasing as experimental in 5.6. We built it with performance first in mind. Animation evaluation are now running in parallel off the game thread, which was our bottleneck. And for the other character systems that are just as costly, like movement, avoidance, state tree behaviors, we also move them to worker threads. This is really going to help you create scenes that are crowded and lively. Streaming has always been a big deal regarding performance. And the three biggest improvements we made are physics state creation, which now runs async, improve runtime PCG for ground scatter on GPU, and a new FastGeo plugin to stream static geometry. And just to take a different example, in City Sample, the streaming time was cut down by 90% while moving at high speed. We focus on a lot of areas for performance in 5.6, and mobile is no exception. We work on better defaults and scalability settings for mobile.
Credo che quella era la tech demo di Matrix, tipo.
We also improve our
Ma non sono
workflows
sicuro.
with a UI refactor of the viewport toolbar and content browser.
Ci ho detto un sacco di dettagli tecnici, io vi lascio tutta sta parte perché secondo me va lasciata.
A mobile preview solution.
Questo è Fortnite.
So there you go. Unreal Engine 5.6 is all about performance, and it's available today.
Sì, infatti comunque mi ero accorto che era uscita la 5.6.
Enjoy the tech talks and session we have for you guys and come chat with us. And now, please welcome Chris from the MetaHuman team. Thank you.
Comunque veramente impressionante, non ho nulla da aggiungere e staremo a vedere. Comunque hanno fatto un lavoro Incredibile, bravi, bravi con gli Epic, e noi ci vediamo al prossimo episodio. Un saluto a tutti da GOitalia, ciao!